time again. I'm a new day rising. I'm a brand new sky to hang the stars upon tonight. And I'm a little divided. Do I stay or run away and leave it all behind? It's times like these you learn to live again. It's times like these you give and give again. It's times like these you learn to love again. It's times like these and time again. It's times like these you give and give again. It's times like these you learn to love again. It's times like these and time again.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. As Unitarian Universalists, we believe truth is larger than any one book or way. Religion and science go hand in hand. Integrity requires freedom of conscience. Diversity is something to celebrate. In the struggle for justice, we come alive. Our highest aspiration and calling is love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever path you are on, you are welcome here. Once again, welcome to West Shore Unitarian Universalist Church. We are so glad you are here with us this morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. There is a lot going on in our spiritual community. Please check out the insert in your order of service. That's a great way to find out how you can get more involved. So many things, cool things going on. So please take a look at that insert in your order of service. Let me bring your attention to some folks in our space here today wearing purple and red colors. And I'm wearing purple socks, red and purple tie, of course, my stole here. Well, it's an honor of longevity. It's an honor of those among us living into their 70s, their 80s, their 90s, and beyond. Thanks to West Shore member Bev Schmidtgen, there will be a cake after the service for all to enjoy in Baker Hall. Be sure to get you some. Let's now greet each other warmly. If you see someone you've not met before, please be sure to say hello and maybe offer a wave to the folks at home who are joining us virtually. Let's greet each other now. To this good morning, remembering the journey of freedom. The land we are on was once another's. We mourn the legacies of oppression. Healing is our way forward. Joy is the birthright of all. Do you guys know Bev Schmidtgen? Do you know her? She's right there. She's seated right there. Bev, would you wave at everybody? All right. Say hello to Bev. She brought that wonderful cake, and we just love Bev. We're grateful for her. Our call to the offering for this morning, General Assembly, known simply as GA, is the annual gathering of Unitarian Universalists from around the country. This year, it's in Pittsburgh, from June 21st through 25th, and also it's available virtually. GA can be an exciting event, worshiping and singing hymns with thousands of other UUs, being inspired by outstanding speakers, and learning from a wide variety of workshops. This year is more important than ever. Not only will our very own music director, Dave Blazer, be there at GA, all right, part of the GA music team, but a new UUA president will be elected, and there will be discussion and a vote on revising our UU principles. The UUA bylaws require a periodic review of our principles, and the revisions being proposed are somewhat different. Some would say radical. The change would The change would replace the principles with values and would incorporate a proposed 8th principle into those values, and we, of course, have affirmed the 8th principle as a congregation. The discussion is going to be quite lively, so we hope you can join us for that. Unfortunately, the cost of GA is not affordable for everyone, and that's why we have this month's outreach offering. It's going to go to provide partial scholarships to help with registration costs for West Shore members. The more generous you are, the more people we can help to attend. If you're interested in attending, please contact Jerry Nazel or Ann Osborne. The offering will now be given and gratefully received.
Today's reading is from Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. From my high bluff on the coast, I look east, and the hills before me are a ragged range of clear-cut forests. To the south, I see an estuary dammed and diked so that salmon may no longer pass. On the western horizon, A bottom-dragging trawler scrapes up the ocean floor. And far away to the north, the earth is torn open for oil. Had the new people learned what original man was taught at a council of animals, never damage creation and never interfere with the sacred purpose of another being, the eagle would look down on a different world. The salmon would be crowding up the rivers, and passenger pigeons would darken the sky. Wolves, cranes, Nehalem, cougars, Lenape, old-growth forests would still be here, each fulfilling their sacred purpose. I would be speaking Potawatomi. It does not bear too much imagining, for in that direction lies heartbreak. Against the backdrop of that history, an invitation to settler society to become indigenous to place feels like a free ticket to house-breaking party. It could be read as an open invitation to take what little is left. Can settlers be trusted to walk so that each step is a greeting to Mother Earth? Grief and fear still sit in the shadows, behind the glimmer of hope. Together they try to hold my heart closed. But I need to remember that the grief is the settlers as well. They too will never walk in a tall grass prairie where sunflowers dance with goldfinches. Their children have also lost the chance to sing at the maple dance. They can't drink the water either.
When I am frightened, will you reassure me? When I'm uncertain, will you hold my hand? Will you be strong for me? Sing to me quietly. Will you share some of your stories with me? If you will show me compassion, then I may learn to care as you do. Then I may learn to care. When I am angry, will you still embrace me? When I am thoughtless, will you understand? Will you believe in me, stand by me willingly? Will you share some of your questions with me? If you will show me acceptance, then I may learn to give as you do. Then I may learn to give. When I am troubled, will you listen to me? When I am lonely, will you be my friend? Will you be there for me, comfort me tenderly? Will you share some of your feelings with me? If you will show me commitment, then I may learn to love as you do. Then I may learn to love. And now all are welcome to come forward to share from the heart. The joys and sorrows that we bring here to this space. These are just a couple of them. I'll take these into my meditations this week and pray for all of us, for all that is our life. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Today I am raising a question. The question of one's heart being open or closed. Right at the start of this new year, I am asking it. I still think of a report issued a couple years ago by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. This panel, composed of a group of scientists convened by the United Nations to guide world leaders, described a world of worsening food shortages and wildfires, with a mass die-off of coral reefs as soon as 2040, a period well within the lifetime of much of the global population and the people in this room. Looking forward, it might get that bad, or maybe even worse. And looking backward, there have been so many losses already. The book that we're reading together this year, all year long, Robin Wall Kimmerer's Braiding Sweetgrass, it does not shy away from naming this. Monumental losses to the earth, with all its non-human people, the plants, the animals, the land. Monumental losses to Kimmerer's indigenous ancestors, which continue to be felt today. And losses also to the settlers who took over North America, and settlers who at one time fervently believed that you've got to kill the Indian to save the man. The instigators, who are our immigrant ancestors, most of whom did not at all live lightly upon the land. I need to remember, says Robin Wall Kimmerer, that the grief is the settlers as well. They too will never walk in a tall grass prairie where sunflowers dance with goldfinches. Their children have also lost the chance to sing at the maple dance. They can't drink the water either. Look even casually into all of this, and you will find them. You will find grief and fear. Grief and fear together, says Kimmerer. They try to hold my heart closed. And maybe our hearts as well. Which results in a feeling of paralysis, a feeling of helplessness, a feeling that even though the calendar says it's 2023, suggesting new possibilities in a new year, in reality, everything stays old. Nothing is going to change. It's only going to get worse. It's just a continuation of a slide to disaster that we have been stuck on for generations. They, grief and fear, threaten to hold the hearts of all of us closed. Therefore, the question that I am asking as a new year begins, of one's heart being closed or open. As religious people who seek to be responsive to the realities of our day, and not just environmental reality, but any reality that is disturbing, such as the political dysfunction we all witnessed this week in Washington's House of Representatives, one of the most important questions we can ever ask of ourselves is, can we feel the grief and the fear of our world, the pain, and still have an open heart to hope? How we answer this singular, momentous question matters. In an important way, it is a question of coexistence. Can the heart stay open to hope even as it feels the pain? Does it have to be all or nothing? Does it have to be black or white? If there is no way now for the two to coexist, if they are like matter and antimatter and never the twain shall meet, well, then one of two things happens. One is that the pain devours hope and sends us tumbling into a midnight of despair and kills action in the present. We are indeed stuck We are indeed paralyzed. We do nothing as the years count down to 2040 when the predicted food shortages are supposed to happen, or the worsening wildfires, or the mass die-offs of coral reefs. Perhaps because the storyteller in our head, that storyteller overwhelmed by all the grief and fear and pain, the storyteller in our head says, nothing I do will make any difference anyhow. And we believe it. Or this happens. If pain and hope can't coexist, in this scenario, hope eclipses pain. Our hope becomes disconnected from the common good. It becomes more about the kind of car we aspire to drive, or fashionable clothes, or the best schools for our kids, or other forms of self-centered materialism that just feed business as usual. This, or our hope, floats. It floats like a balloon high above this world. It floats into some other world. And that's how we cope with the suffering down here, by continually projecting ourselves into some future afterlife where God shall wipe away all the tears and make everything all better. Either hope becomes self-centered, or it becomes about some other world, and in either case it has been falsified, it has become unworthy. How we answer the question about coexistence matters, and not just for ourselves, but also for our children. I have heard Michelle Obama say that our children respond to the pain of this world in the same way that they see us responding, and I think she's right. Again and again, maybe you've seen this. I have seen small kids fall down, they bump their heads, and then immediately they look to the parent to see how they should respond. Have you ever seen that? The parent overreacts and the kid starts screaming. The parent stays calm and the kid stays calm. If, by how we are reacting to the pain, we are teaching our kids paralysis, or entitled selfishness, or otherworldly hope, well, we are solidifying a vicious cycle in the human race. We are hurrying up the death of all the values that we hold dear. There must be a way for our full feeling of the world's pain to coexist with our hope, and therefore with hopeful action. We need to find that way.
Tell you I was fragile. I could tell you I was weak. I could write you out a letter and tell you anything you need. I've seen minutes turn to hours, and hours turn to years, and I've seen truth turn to power. And if you could see me the way I see you, if you could feel me the way I feel you, you'd be a believer. You'd be a believer. Minutes turn to hours, hours turn to years, and I've seen
It's times like these you learn to live again. It's times like these you give and give again. It's times like these, it's time again. It's times like these. The way forward, the way for our full feeling of the world's pain to coexist with our hope and therefore with hopeful action, takes us into a face-to-face meeting with a long-standing, big voice, dominant culture myth about what it means to be healthy and well functioning. This big voice myth is echoed by the last line of practically every fairy tale out there. What is that last line? And they lived happily ever after. This happiness myth essentially says that to be a healthy and well-functioning human being is to be filled with perpetual joy, perpetual fun, peace, contentment, hope, and other pleasurable emotions. That is the natural state for all human beings, and not stress, not anxiety, not frustration or fear or grief. Entire mental health and pharmacological industries are raised up to eradicate all of these negativities, these defects, so as to bring us back to what should be our natural state. No wonder it seems that feeling pain for our world and feeling hopeful appear to be enemies rather than friends. And so from this, the action plan flows to be vigilant in weeding out all our negative thoughts and feelings and planting positive ones in their place, taping a permanent smile upon our minds, telling our kids, don't cry, don't be gloomy, there's nothing to be afraid of, telling ourselves, chill out, snap out of it, get over it. That's the action plan based on the dominant culture, big voice, happiness myth. And there is a fly in that ointment. Let me suggest what it is by asking you to do something. I want you to try it right now. I want you to try to think about eating your favorite food. Try not to focus, all right, on the flavors exploding in your mouth as you savor. Try not to think about it. Don't think about eating your favorite food. Try not to. How are you doing? You know, the fact is, our minds have a life of their own. Buddhists call this monkey mind. Thoughts of all kinds pop in from nowhere, uncalled for by us. We completely overestimate our power to control this. It is also estimated that 80% of these thoughts have some degree of negative content. Did you know that? 80%? Now, why is this so? Psychiatrist Russ Harris explains. He says, our minds evolved to help us survive in a world fraught with danger. The number one priority of the primitive human mind was to look out for anything that might harm you and avoid it. The primitive human mind was basically, he says, a don't get killed device. You ever thought about your brain as a don't get killed device? In other words, he continues, evolution has tuned our minds towards the negative. Saber-toothed tiger threats are long gone, but these days we can be constantly worried about the other shoe dropping in the form of a IRS audit, unless you're Donald Trump, sorry. Or the kid being bullied at school, the other shoe dropping, being diagnosed with some disease. Evolution has also taught us to be wary of exclusion from the group because group membership means safety. So today, we can be constantly worried about doing something that might get us rejected or makes us not fit in or makes a fool of ourselves. Our minds are busy comparing ourselves with others. Am I too thin? Am I too fat? Am I too short? Am I too tall? And on and on. Evolution, says psychiatrist Russ Harris, has shaped our brains so that we are hardwired to suffer psychologically, to compare, to evaluate, to criticize ourselves, to focus on what we are lacking, to rapidly become dissatisfied with what we have, and to imagine all sorts of frightening scenarios, most of which will never happen. And then he says, no wonder humans find it hard to be happy. But the happiness myth of that big voice dominant culture, it shouts into our ears. It shouts into our ears. It is so very loud that we press bravely on. And for every unpleasant thought that pops up randomly in our minds and depresses us or frightens us, we see it as our duty to chase it down and wrestle it down and replace it with a smile. And this just makes us more miserable. In the active pursuit of happiness, we are creating unhappiness, for one thing. Wrestling with each of these unpleasant thoughts steals away time and energy that it could actually be devoted to actually doing something positive. For another thing, this ends up really hurting our self-esteem because we are constantly failing. We're constantly failing at preventing these thoughts from popping up. Yet a third reason why this actively harms us is because of our control strategies. Often they take behavioral forms that cause problems. I'm talking about for example, the practice of denying issues so that they only get worse, kicking that old can down the road, right, until the can grows into the size of a truck. Or what about our strategies where we numb ourselves through various kinds of addictions, and so on. It is just not sane to try to fight a war against this particular aspect of human nature. We will always lose. It is time to find a way to win, a way that really is possible and respects the wholeness of our psyches and keeps our hearts open. Winning means throwing out the dominant culture big voice myth about what it means to be a healthy and well-functioning human. Winning means getting maladjusted in a Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. sort of way. You hear me? We especially have to throw out this myth because you know what? All of the things that are truly worth fighting for, all those things that our Unitarian Universalist 8 principles talk about, the things that are truly most meaningful in life, they bring with them a whole range of feelings, both pleasant and unpleasant. If you are not feeling grief and fear these days, you are not living deeply and meaningfully enough. If you are not feeling grief and fear these days, you are not fulfilling the call to your inherent worth and dignity enough. In particular, you may not comprehend what it truly means to be woven into the interdependent web of all existence, which our 7th principle talks about. It means to hear within ourselves the sounds of the earth crying. It means the grief and the fear that Robin Wall Kimmerer is feeling, and which we may be feeling, simply reflects a deeper sense of connection with something larger than ourselves. That the world's degradation is not just something out there, but it is personal. It is in here. To be a part of the interdependent web of all existence is not just to feel wonder or pleasure, it is also, especially these days, to feel pain and dread and sorrow. Joy and woe are woven fine, clothing for the soul divine. William Blake. Healthy and well-functioning is not about being internally cleansed of all painful thoughts and feelings. It is not an all-or-nothing thing. Healthy and well-functioning is honoring that the internal space of your heart and mind will always be cluttered by all sorts of stuff. Knowing this, and knowing also that you are big enough, you are strong enough to hold it all. Knowledge, which can empower you to choose carefully which thoughts you will focus on, and which thoughts you will simply allow to march around your head until they inevitably lose steam and fade away, which they will unless you feed them with your attention. Don't feed them. Don't feed the unworthy thoughts. You know what is the most heart-closing and useless belief there is, thought there is? You know what that is? It is this: nothing I do will make any difference anyhow. When you hear about what is projected to happen to our planet, to all of us, by 2040, or when you hear about other sorts of injustice, and this is the thought that pops up into your mind, nothing I do will make any difference anyhow. Well, let me ask you, in all fairness, is this a useful thought? Everyone should be saying, yes, it is not a useful thought. This is not the sort of thought you want to invest the precious resource of your attention on. Just say instead, monkey mind. Is at it again. It is 100,000 years old. It's still scanning the environment for saber-toothed tigers. Okay, he can think what he thinks, but I'm not going to fight that. He shares the same mental space. It shares the same mental space I do. I'm never going to get rid of it. It's my roommate up there. So I've got to make peace with it. It's got its perspective. I've got mine. What I am going to do is this. I am going to find a way to help. I am going to go vote. I'm going to get active in some way with my hope. That monkey mind voice, nothing I do will make any difference anyhow. They're just words. Just because these words appear on the screen of your mind doesn't mean that they're true. We know we need to be very careful these days about the words we read on screens, right? Right? We need to be careful about those words we need on screens because of all the misinformation campaigns out there and the Russian bots, right? And all over the place. So why are we so naive about the words that appear on the screen inside our heads? Don't let those words scare you. Steal away your energy to live out your values, to close your heart. To be a well-functioning, healthy spiritual being, having a human experience, is to bear the weight of 100,000 years of conditioning that pops up constantly in a voice speaking words that make you afraid, that make you constantly unsatisfied, that fill you perhaps with unpleasantness. To bear this weight, but to bear it lightly. To hold open a space inside of yourself that allows unuseful thoughts to pop in. They will, but just let them march around like they own the place and just let them be. Let them run out of steam all on their own, just like the wind-up toys that they are. What you do is keep your eyes on the prize here in 2023. What you do is focus on the useful thoughts that guide you into being a difference maker, whatever that's going to look like. Keep your heart. You know that you can honor the pain of our world, and yet you also know that you can hope. They do not cancel each other out. The two together make you into one precious, whole human being, joy and woe woven fine. And this world, in this new year of 2023, it needs you. Amen. Let's extinguish our chalice. Please say these words with me. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry with us until we meet again. There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. sometimes the only way of finding hope, the only way to get there is to acknowledge the grief and to acknowledge the fear that you might be feeling. To do that first. It's like there's something inside of you. It's just asking to be seen. It's asking to be respected. Just honor it. Do that first, and the way opens before you to healing. May you go from this place today more committed than ever before to becoming whole, to knowing yourself in all of your fullness. The grief, the fear, the love, the hope, it all hangs together. Joy and woe, woven fine. So may it be. There is more peace somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more peace somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more joy somewhere.
Feel free to join in.
You know, it's like, you don't want to join in with us.
It's times like these you learn to live again. It's times like these you give and give again. It's times like these you learn to love again. It's times like these you give and give again. It's times like these you learn to live again. It's times like these you give and give again. It's times like these you learn to love again. It's times like these and time again. It's times like these you learn to live again. It's times like these you give and give again. It's times like these you learn to love again. It's times like these, time again. It's times like these you learn to live again. It's times like these you give and give again. It's times like these you learn to love again. It's times like these and time